I'd like to welcome you to this monthly meeting of the Planning Commission of the City of Rehoboth Beach. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Well, the secretary is not here, so I will call the roll.
Okay.
Commissioner Strange.
Present.
Commissioner Ellison.
Here.
Commissioner Davis is absent. Commissioner Hunter.
Here.
Commissioner Stewart. Here. Commissioner Dewey, the secretary, is absent. Commissioner Stockdale is absent. Myself, Susan Gay, here. And Chair Bryan.
Here.
And we do have a quorum.
We do have a quorum. I call the meeting to order. Ms. Womack, any publication information you can share with us?
The agenda for the planning commission regular meeting was posted in City Hall and on the city portal on August 13th and was sent out in the portal the same day. The agenda was amended and reposted on August 15th. Public notice for preliminary review of lot consolidation application number 0625-01 for the property located at 517 Stokely Street Extended was posted in City Hall and on the city portal on July 28th. The public notice was published in the Cape Gazette on August 1st and August 5th, and in Delaware State News on August 1st and August 6th. Notifications specific to this project were mailed out to property owners within 200 feet of the subject property, and signage was also posted on the property. That's all I have.
Thank you. Has there been any mail correspondence other than what was listed in the agenda? Okay. All right, well, our agenda has changed in that it's gotten shorter. The applicant on Lot 1, Scarborough Avenue Extended, has 1001 Scarborough Avenue Extended, it's the address, has asked that, or advised us they do not wish to proceed today. So that matter is taken off of today's agenda, and we'll look at rescheduling it if appropriate. So we'll proceed with the first matter on the agenda, which is a preliminary review of lot consolidation application 0625-01. It's for 517 Stokely Street Extended. And I believe the applicant's here, is his representative. Would you please come forward, state your name, tell us about what you got.
Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Hi there. My name's Corey Darden. I'm here on behalf of Mike Cotton and Cotton Engineering, and then Mr. Rohr over there. This is a lot on Stockley Avenue Extended. It's across from the elementary school down in Rehoboth, and it is just the consolidation of a 75-foot wide lot by 100 and a 25 by 100 foot lot into one 100 by 100 foot lot, as you can see here. The lot line to be eliminated. There's nothing of note that would cause any sort of zoning or setback issues. The only thing on the 25-foot wide lot is an existing accessory building, just a small shed. The existing home on the 75-foot lot is conforming of all setbacks and all other Rehoboth code. If there's any concerns about this, I know there are many surrounding lots that are at least 100 feet wide, so it's very consistent with the character of the surrounding neighborhood. Again, it's a consolidation, not a partition, so the infrastructure is all already there. Stormwater and drainage don't pose any sort of problem, and I don't believe there's any way it could be any adverse impact on surrounding properties. So it's very simple, just combining an unusable 25-foot wide lot with the remaining 75 feet.
And some type of exhibit concerning trees has been filed?
Yes, and they're actually all here with size and caliper on the survey as well.
Okay. Anything else from the applicant at this point?
No?
Okay. Mr. Shinko, you filed a report. Looks pretty clean.
Yes, Chairman. I can echo the applicant and his agent from Cotton Engineering that there are no zoning nonconformities with this consolidation, and should they come in for any type of permitting in the future, they would be held to all applicable zoning and tree and building codes of the city of Rehoboth.
Do any members of the Planning Commission have any questions for the applicant?
Is there a plan to build on the 100-foot lot, build a new structure? Is that part of the plan?
I believe there is a future plan for an addition to the existing structure.
Okay. I just, yeah.
Anyone else? This could set a record. Do I have a motion?
Do we have to have a motion to carry it to a public hearing?
I believe that's correct.
Okay. Well, I guess I move that we move application for lot consolidation number 0625-01 to public hearing
Is there a second?
on September 26th, I think,
The fourth Friday.
the fourth Friday in September.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Go ahead and,
I think we can probably do a voice vote
yes,
on
let's
this
just do a
one.
voice for it,
Yeah.
voice for it on this one. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, we'll see you in September.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
You.
Nice. 3 minutes?
2:15, he was going to come for his presentation.
Well,
It's like, why can't I get those?
Good thing you got here on time.
People said the planning commission can't act quickly.
That's true.
We can take more time on yours.
Oh, please don't. Are we all set?
yes, sir.
All right.
You are Vince Robertson?
I am still Vince Robertson. So this one, I'm here on behalf of the owner of, well, it's the Culture Pearl building that's owned by the Quillen family. Just a little bit of background. This is what I think is hopefully a corrective rezoning. The property, just so you can see, here's the zoning map of it. The front half on Lake, which was the front of Quillen's Hardware. Let me go back a little bit. Forever, this building was Quillen's Hardware. It was sort of an institution in Rehoboth Beach. For whatever reason, they decided that it wasn't viable to maintain the hardware store there. They kept the building, still own it, the family does, and they leased it to the Cultured Pearl. Cultured Pearl owns or leases the whole property for the restaurant, and then also they sublease to stores underneath. At the time, it was still the Quillen's Hardware building. For whatever reason, the city rezoned the properties on the backside of the building along Sussex to residential. That's the green that you see here. And that means that the backside of the Quillen's building, from like this line through the middle of it up to here, even though it was used commercially for eons, got a residential zoning slapped upon it. And that was all fine, but at the time that Quillen's was looking to relocate its hardware store and remove its hardware store, and enter into a lease with the family that has a Cultured Pearl, that was around the same time that this rezoning occurred, and there was a real concern, all right, well, a hardware store is a legal non-conforming use. What about a restaurant and these other uses in this building? And at the time in 2006, this gives, I think, a little, I don't know the reason for the rezoning, but I think it's a fair guess. This is 2006, around the time the rezoning was occurring. Again, this was Quillen's Hardware. You can see the current building. It doesn't have the nice fish pond up top and the tables because it was a hardware store. But over here, there was sort of, I would say, semi-commercial, a block building, and the lots were vacant. So I think probably the city wanted to make sure that Sussex Street got developed residentially and not commercially. And instead of cutting the zoning line off at the Quillen's property, they rezoned it all the way through to the corner. You know, I don't have any records for that, I'll admit, but that seems to be the only logical explanation.
Can I interrupt you to answer the
Sure.
question, Brad?
Yeah.
It was called for in the 2004 CDP specifically that would be a rezone of those two blocks of Sussex Street.
Yeah.
So it was a goal and an action required by the 2004 CDP.
And I don't dispute that, and I
Yeah.
totally agree with that. My only question, I guess, at the time was why capture the Quillen's building in that, and I would just point out, this is the current aerial photo. The concern about Sussex Street, which was a viable concern at the time in 2004 and the CDP in 2006, I think that's gone at this point because, as you can see, what was vacant has now been all developed residentially, while the Quillen / Culture Pearl building remains there. So anyhow, at the time that the Cultured Pearl family was looking to enter into lease with Quillens, and this rezoning was occurring, they came to me after the rezoning had happened, and that was potentially going to put the jam on Quillen or on Cultured Pearl being able to go in there. And so I reached out to the city solicitor at the time, and we reached that memorandum of understanding, which you all have. It's attached to the letter in the file. Rather than an appeal or rather than going through the rezoning, I'm not sure why the city chose to go that route. I will tell you, we certainly followed because at that point I was result oriented. I wanted to get this done so that, you know, we didn't have any issues with Quillens. And I will tell you, since then, I think it had slipped my mind because it wasn't an issue. You know, we've been through, I think, 3 city solicitors since then, you know, probably more city managers. It's not recorded anywhere. You know, it's something to clean up. The other thing is timing now. Leonard Quillens passed away, so that family's changed generations. You know, he was involved with it in 2006. Nobody else really knew about it now. There's some other issues with it as well. Obviously, there's uncertainty, you know, should the Cultured Pearl ever want to change some of the uses back there under their lease. And I should say they're not going anywhere. This is not in any way, shape, or form the result of some future plans for this property or redevelopment of the property. It's just to clean this up after 20 years. So there's that. The other thing that, when talking with Chris Quillen of the Quillen family, there's the issue with commercial financing. You know, if you go to commercially finance the thing, there's going to be an appraisal, there's going to be due diligence, and a commercial lender is going to look at this and say, what do we do with this split zoning for a building that's, you know, a third of it or more is zoned residential. So that's the other thing to get cleaned up. Because I don't know that a commercial lender, I don't know how they would react to that MOU, frankly, that's not recorded and is not really, you know, an official zoning document of the city of Rehoboth. So that's the long and the short of it. You know, again, it's not, I don't really look at it as a rezon. I mean, it's officially a rezoning. We're looking to do just what that MOU said, is that be able to keep doing what's permitted in C1, which they've been able to do, you know, forever with the Quillens building, and just clean it up so that it shows up that way on the zoning map, and we don't have these legacy issues anymore, so.
Yes.
I have a
Ms.
question,
Stewart.
and I'm not, it's more curiosity.
Sure.
There's that little house.
Yeah.
That's part of that's commercially zoned, and that's part of the building?
No, the little house, which you can see here.
Barely see the roof.
Yeah, and if you, hold on, this is the tax map. I probably can't zoom in, but it's actually a 25-foot wide lot that's its own
Okay.
next to it, in the shadow of Quillen, well, of Cultured Pearl and whatever I guess the house is next to it. I know Corey and I talked about that too a little bit. It's kooky, but yeah, it's zoned commercial, but it's used residentially.
I have a couple of questions about it. First of all, if you don't need to do it in order to continue the use.
Well, I would disagree with that to some extent. You're right, like just everything being the same. But we're just kicking the can down the road because, you know, for one thing, when it went from a hardware store to a restaurant and other uses in there, you know, under the grandfathering provisions, there's always that issue of, is that a more intensive use or a less intensive use, you know, and should they ever change again with a tenant or, you know, or themselves or whatever, and I'm talking about the Cultured Pearl because they have the long-term lease on it, you know, that issue's going to come up again, which jams them up for planning. They'd either have to come to Corey or they'd potentially go to the Board of Adjustment or whatever. And as I said, you know, with the ability to get commercial financing on that starts becoming a real issue. I mean, that's a real world issue in today's day and age. Because banks are going to see that and they're going to say, well, what's this mean? You got a commercial use sitting on a residentially zoned property.
Well, by the same token, is there any plan to consolidate? How many lots? Is it 3?
We looked at that. Yeah, there's 3. And my suspicion, so yes, we'll do that to the extent we need to confirm that. My suspicion is that in, I think it's 1982, when they got the building permit to expand the Quillens hardware building, that there was just the assumption by use that it was consolidated, because I don't know that the lot consolidation provisions were in the code.
That's right.
you know.
There are a lot of things that are consolidated by use. That's why we
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
the
But,
provisions
and
that
then
we have
Corey and I
now.
talked about that as well. We don't
Yeah.
have any problem doing that. And frankly,
So-
it makes sense, probably for
yeah,
record
well,
keeping
and-
and for everything else.
So here's what I want to know. How, the lot, the residential lot is about 4,400 square feet, is that right?
It's roughly 4285,
Okay,
give or take.
I was close. And the entire lot is how big?
Ooh, offhand, let me look at the survey. That I'm not sure about off the top of my head, because it's 4,200 square feet for the back, but I'm not sure, honestly, without doing the math, of what it is for the whole thing.
You think it's 10, you think it's more than 10,000?
I would say it's close. I don't know if it's over
Okay.
or under. So.
Okay. Just curious. I can't remember if 10,000 is the minimum for a hotel. I think it is. I mean, my quandary is that, and this has obviously nothing to do with the current use of it. I mean, it's been beautifully done. I mean, it's what Susan's done with the Cultured Pearl is wonderful. But what happens if it gets sold, you know, even 10 years from now, and then once it's a C1 lot, then a gas station could go there? And that's, so I guess that's really the dilemma, is that when it's rezoned, anything can happen in the future. I know that nothing is going to happen in the short run, but so many things can happen in the future.
Well,
So-
I guess so let me just state, there's no plans to sell it.
I understand. I get that.
But anything, I totally agree, anything can happen. But, you know, under this kooky memorandum that's been in place in 20 years, you know, it says that you could do anything that's permitted in C1. You know, so like the Quillen family, I hate to even say it because it sounds like they're thinking about stuff and they're not. You know, so theoretically, they could probably at least come in with a claim that this memo gives them the right to do it. So that's my point. I don't know that we're really
Okay.
adding or changing anything. We're just correcting what currently exists, because it was, I'll be honest, I don't know how I got it done and I was glad to get it done 20 years ago, but I don't know that it went to the city, went and got a resolution or anything like that. I just don't know, you know? So 20 years later, it just seems like we ought to just change the map to reflect
Do you
what's in there.
recall whether there was an argument made or an attempt to take this property out of because there were like 20 that were rezoned at the same time. It was
Yeah.
2 blocks. Was there any attempt to remove this from the list?
I can't say because they came to me after.
Oh, after all
it
that,
happened, yeah,
okay.
So
Yeah.
in all honesty, I just don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Yeah.
And I don't know that, I don't know how it was noticed. I don't know that they were aware of it, you know, because their property was used commercially for so long, or that they realized the
Well,
impact
I'm sure they
of
were
it.
aware of it. It was a pretty
Yeah.
big rezoning deal.
Oh, no, I know, like,
Yeah.
no, generally, but as it related
Yeah.
to their building, I don't know.
How long does the Cultured Pearl have left on its lease, do you know?
It's been renewed, so there's a good bit of time left on it, so.
10 years?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Is there financing on the building now?
I don't know, not for the Quillens, but for the Cultured Pearl, I imagine there's leasehold financing on it.
You know,
so.
because I mean, from a perspective of a family that's inherited this kind of building, and therefore not necessarily all the same interests in terms of liquidity and things, you could see a family wanting to sort of take some value out of the property through commercial financing.
Yeah, the equity out of it, that's right.
So that kind of makes a lot of sense to me for a reason that you might want to move forward doing that. You guys,
Yeah,
it's a,
no,
makes
and
sense.
that's true. And because they are, I mean, with Dennard passing away, you know, they've consolidated some of their things too. They own a lot of different properties in business as well, like 227 Rents, Grand Rental Station, yeah.
Anyone else?
Mike Strange.
Mike Strange?
Yeah. I personally have known Dennard for, well, almost 50 years. And I think this whole process, as has been pointed out by Vince, was sort of an accident that no one really was on top of it on any issues. I don't think there was any ever nefarious intent by any party related to this. It was just one of those things that kind of oozed and evolved over time. And to the point that's just been raised, the balance of the sons of Dennard, their interests lied otherwhere than hardware stores. And there have been some changes already outside of town. But I think the real issue here is, and as Vince points out, is clarifying a physical reality, taking into account what has been a physical reality now for almost 50 years, and correcting it so that in the future, it doesn't create a host of problems for whoever owns the property or subsequent property that surrounds it. So since we have no history anywhere, it seems like it was just one of those accidental events that took place that no one was paying attention to and didn't realize. And so this basically corrects the record and makes it formally a better situation for the city and for the current owners of the property.
And I remind the members of the commission that our role in this process is to make a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners, who will then hold their public hearing and make the final decision on whether to rezone or not. So we are simply giving an advisory opinion in this particular matter.
In that sense, I would recommend that we give a positive advisory opinion on this subject.
But just hang on. I don't want to
Okay.
get Mr. Robertson excited. Let us have the rest of the discussion.
2 o'clock.
Yeah, we're barely getting started.
I just want to clarify that, in fact, the public will have a say in this matter, because I can imagine, even though the building has been the way it has for so long, and I certainly remember that whole history, the residents along Sussex may have different feelings about it. But, so you've assured me, I think, that when it gets to the Board of Commissioners, it will be a public hearing.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can I ask
code
our
requires
counsel
that.
something? I intended to recuse on this because of joining the Board of Commissioners next month. Is it too late for me to do that?
To recuse?
Yeah,
You could simply recuse from voting.
okay.
Yeah, I don't,
that okay
I don't
with
think
you?
where you're seated is dispositive, so don't say anything, don't vote.
Do you want me to get out of the seat? I'm being serious.
yeah.
Okay. I had a senior moment.
There's a
Sorry.
It's a little flippant, but
I take
just,
everything back.
Yeah.
I take every.
Congratulations, too, on the way up.
We still
Anyone
have a
else have a
quorum.
comment?
We still have a quorum.
Yeah, so just to follow up on Jim's point, then, a public hearing is required before the city commission votes, and that means that notice will be posted and sent to property owners around, within however many feet of this property, right?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, that's been my other big dilemma about it, because even though I know there will be a public hearing, we don't have the benefit of, we have no idea, what the neighbors think. And I feel a little bit at a disadvantage that we don't have that. I understand that the process is what it is, but I feel like we're missing a piece.
Yeah, but I think we've mentioned that to Corey
Yeah,
about
and
the
it-
236
yes.
revisions and whether or not it would be appropriate to
yeah.
include that. So
I get it, yeah, and I.
this
I think
has
that'd be
merely
good.
highlighted what
Yeah,
the issue is.
absolutely. Yeah.
And we can highlight that in the letter to the
Yes.
Board of Commissioners with whatever the recommendation is. We can note that for them as well.
Yes, sir, Mr.
I was just going to raise a question. With one of the members recusing themselves, we don't have a quorum
Yeah,
now.
we do. Barely. We have 5.
We have
Oh, yeah, 5, okay. Sorry.
Susan counts as 2. Any other discussions?
If I may.
Mr. Robertson.
Just a point, rough math, the total parcel, so all 3 parcels combined is more than 10,000.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So when would you plan to do the lot consolidation? Soon? I mean, like,
Well,
next step?
Yeah, it wasn't really something we had thought about, and this has been percolating for quite some time for reasons not having anything to do with this. And then Corey brought it up, and I don't know if that was in reaction to a question that was raised whenever, soon, so, yeah.
Because wouldn't that affect, like, financing too? I mean, wouldn't if they were 3 separate lots and they've got a structure straddling them and they went to do financing, wouldn't?
Not so much
That
because, I
wouldn't-
mean, with
okay.
the survey showing, the perimeter of all 3.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe, but not as much as having 2 different zoning classifications on it. Because the whole thing with banks is they don't want to inherit problems if a loan goes bad, you know? and
Right,
So
yeah.
that's why they're conservative on something like this.
Anyone else? Are we ready to vote? Is there a motion in terms of an advisory opinion to the Board of Commissioners from this body?
And you would want that stated in the affirmative? So is the motion then that the Planning Commission recommends that we rezone the parcel from R2 to C1? Is that
Yes.
be the motion? Okay.
And with certain recommendations about issues that have come up during this hearing, this meeting.
Okay, so moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Well, no, we're going to do roll call on this one.
Wanna do
Yeah.
it?
Let me just,
Jim has.
I think we need to mention somewhere, maybe it doesn't need to be in the motion, but this notion that we make this recommendation with the knowledge that we have not had a
Right.
public hearing, but that one will occur at the BOC level.
Is that an amendment to the motion?
I would make it as an
Is
amendment.
there a second to the amendment?
Second.
All right.
And then I would add to that, though, that I think there are a number of factors that should be in our recommendation, not just the public input, but the dilemma over, what happens with this space in, now that it's C1. We want them to look at all of the factors. So I think this entire discussion would be part of the record that would be summarized in the recommendation.
Is that a
So,
second amendment?
I think that's it's a second amendment that incorporates Jim's, basically that all the issues we've talked about would be incorporated into the recommendation.
Is there a second to the motion as amended and amended?
Can I do that? No.
All those in favor of
Well,
adopting?
no,
the
again, we have to
amendment,
roll call
the
vote.
amendment.
Oh, the amendment, okay.
All those in favor of the amendment to the amendment?
Aye.
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 All right.
Okay, so now we have a roll call vote?
Yep.
Okay. Commissioner Strange?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellison?
Yes.
Davis is not here. Commissioner Hunter?
Just almost as a matter of form, I'm going to abstain because of the various issues.
Okay, Commissioner Dewey, and actually,
Let me pause and come back to me.
oh,
We want to make sure we don't frustrate a quorum.
oh, that's right. We talked.
I honestly just don't know off the top of my head.
Well, there seems to be some question about the impact of abstaining, so I don't want to mess all this up. The motion as amended and re-amended certainly alludes to my concerns. The only other thing I would say is that visually, what is now on Sussex Street is just it's just like a single car size garage door and another door sort of painted dark and so forth. And I do have questions about whether the neighbors would have views if that were to ever become something where a lot of people were going in and out. And I'm very glad that we don't have to solve that. That's up to the Planning Commission. And so I had intended to abstain because it seemed to me more consistent with my views. I'm certainly don't intend to communicate a recommendation against it, but I do have concerns. However, there appears to be an issue about whether this would jeopardize the quorum. And so in light of that, I vote yes.
Okay. And I'm going to vote yes for the identical reasons that Commissioner Hunter has, because I was also concerned that we were hamstrung a little bit by the lack of public input, but we do want to move it forward, so I'll vote in favor of it with all of the issues being raised in our recommendation. And the chair?
Chair votes aye for the same reasons articulated here by the rest of the membership.
Okay, so it passes 5-0.
5-0. And Susan Stewart did not
And
vote.
yes, Commissioner Stewart recused, and Commissioners Dewey, Stockdale, and Davis are absent.
Okay. So we'll move on. We'll send our letter, send you a copy.
Thank you. And I understand on the votes. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, I will just say, I know you all voted. The issue that we're faced with is it's the backside of Sussex, but it also is everything on 4th Street. You know, it's a whole, you know, not all the way through, but it's to this point that's zoned residential, you know? So even though anyhow, that's neither here nor there, but yeah, we'll present all that. And I do appreciate the opportunity for the public to chime in as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I think we'll want to thank you, Corey, for giving us the size of the property. I think we'll want to put that in our recommendation because that also that affects what can be put there, this size of the property.
Those were approximate
Yeah, I
numbers, but
understand.
not
That's
exact.
okay. Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Next agenda item, Building and Licensing Department and Code Enforcement reports for July. And then after that, Chapter 236 proposed amendments.
If everyone doesn't mind, I'll give that from here, as I can go right into 236 presentation.
I have no idea. I thought she just stepped out. She might have gone upstairs.
She may have fled.
Should I wait for Commissioner Stewart?
Might want to wait a couple minutes, especially since we're going so far ahead of time. Time to come back, period. Okay. I just sent her a text and said time to come
Take a
back.
5-minute break. We'll be back here at 2:05.
We back on in?
Corey, you're up.
Okay, if we're live again, I'll resume.
Yes, sir.
So I'll do my report first, very brief. The only thing that I wanted to bring up today concerning upcoming agendas is that we have received a full, complete application package for the public library. Myself and Wallace Montgomery have been working through that now, and we should have a preliminary report for you in the timely fashion for the meeting next month. The only other item that I wanted to bring up that will not be coming, that I can say with certainty, well, for all the information I have right now to the Planning Commission is the Canal Side Inn. We received an application for a Board of Adjustment for that property for 2 single-family homes. So they submitted their application for Board of Adjustment in preparation to be heard at a September meeting there. So that will most likely, if all goes according to that plan, will not come to the Planning Commission.
So they would tear down the existing building?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And with that, I'll move on to one of the things that we have been working on for quite a while now, and that is,
Wait, we might have a question.
Corey, isn't that a
Yes.
subdivision? The Canal Inn?
the canal side. Currently, it sits as one parcel.
But to build 2, they'll have to come here?
They know that's why they want to go to the Board of Adjustment, particularly the section on building more than one single-family dwelling on a parcel.
Got it.
Any other questions before I move into this? Okay. So what I wanted to bring up today is simply a reconfiguration of a table of contents, for all intents and purposes, of Chapter 236. And the introduction here and some of the reasonings that we have are consistent with the presentation I gave in June to the Board of Commissioners that involved a fairly comprehensive code update for multiple sections, articles, and chapters of the City Code of Rehoboth. The existing subdivision regulations that we have in 236 lack clarity in several aspects, and this increases the risk of subjective interpretation, legal challenges, some of which we've had recently. Vague provisions force us staff, as well as you, commissioners, to rely on case-by-case interpretations, which can lead to differential treatment, increased processing time, uncertainty for applicants. So we hope that these code reforms enhance clarity, they streamline the review process and the results in significant time and cost savings for both the city and the applicants. We really want to modernize these codes. That's going to come in updating regulations as well as definitions and such. We want to close the regulatory gaps. This is inconsistency, so we want to treat every application in a very consistent way. Provide clarity and efficiency, which is going to help processing times. We also, with those processing, we want to enhance, again, consistency with review procedures. And this is going to reduce delays and costs over time. We want to make sure that they're consistent with the CDP, and we want to revitalize, or make sure that these are in line with revitalization and with, again, development aspects of the code. The ROI is going to come in implementing efficient processes and clear standards. That reduces the burden on us, on you all, as well as the applicants. The applicants, and with that, the applicants' plans are going to be more likely to be code compliant because of the improved clarity of the standards and processes, which also will reduce the likelihood of appeals and legal proceedings. With the revised fee structure for the applications, that will result in improved utilization of city resources. And again, the hopeful outcome of all this is that the city saves resources in terms of procedural costs and time. And that all of those features are a general feature of what we want to do for all of these chapters moving forward. So with that, the proposed code amendments, these slides are tailored so that on the left in green is what we're proposing, and then in smaller font, I really didn't want to put, I'll zoom in here, too much emphasis, but these are where the existing code locations are of the language. And we did this because we wanted to show how you had to go to different multiple sections of 236 to find certain provisions. So Article 1 will stay general provisions. We'll have a title, a purpose, and applicability. There's going to be a word usage clause that's similar to Sussex County code language. There'll be construal of provisions. Mr. Strange, I've heard you use that a few times before on higher orders and standards to govern. We'll have the definition sections here and a general requirements and restrictions in this section, which will pertain to all applications, not specific. Article 2 will then become the plan review process. Currently, it's, I believe, the approval process. We wanted to take approval out of the way and put the review instead. These ones will consist of concept plans, provisions for preliminary plans, and final plans. We show here the concept plan when required, the purpose in the review process. We didn't show these in preliminary plan and final plan in this slide because they're identical. Again, the process will be the same as it moves through the different stages of the plan review process. We have an area here for rezoning requests, and then actions following final approval. And this is to ensure that we have follow-up after your decisions have been rendered. Article 3 will become the submittal process, the content, and the fees. All of these will be located in one section here, which is something that we really wanted to do. As you can see, there's multiple sections that you have to go through to find, an applicant, I should say, has to try to find where these are. Here, they'll all be right in Article 3. We'll have the submittal process, the plan content requirements, not the design standards, but just the plan contents, and a fee schedule for all of these various applications located in this article.
Can I ask a question related to that? I think for the fee schedule, you'll do yourself a favor if you, refer to an attachment or refer to another document rather than trying to put the fee schedule in the code, because otherwise it has to be changed all the time.
That's a good comment. Yeah, and we will be back in the future with a much more substantial,
Yeah,
package for all this.
Oftentimes, if some codes let the fee structure be set by the department instead of by statute, and that can be much more efficient.
When we come back with substantial completion, we will be seeking comments from all of you and in hopes to incorporate those. And we'll be incorporating what you've talked about here today as well, some of those things. Article 4 is where all of the standards and considerations live. So this is where we really get into the nuts and bolts. The applicant can come here, depending on if they're doing a simple lot separation or site plan review or rezoning. Again, like every other article, you have the purpose and applicability. And then we get into the subdivision of land, whether it be major, minor, or partitioning, or lot consolidation. This isn't it. It's continued on to the next page. We have site plans. There's a suitability of land, preservation of resources, public sites, and open spaces, and also for rezoning requests. And again, this is where all the standards and considerations will live, and this is where the bulk of what we'll be looking at when an applicant comes in, what they need to comply with. Article 5 is required improvements. Again, we have purpose and applicability. The required improvements, what those are, we'll have minimum installation requirements, plans, we'll talk to bonds and fees, inspection of improvements, and really something that we really wanted to put in here that the county has that we feel is very important is closeout procedures for these required improvements. Again, we really want to button up a lot of stuff after it's left your desk. Article 6, application amendments, exceptions, and expirations. These all live in 236-33 with the exception of the 236-7B down here. And we've seen this most recently with Bellhaven amendments. Purpose and applicability, again at the top, we want to try to have all these the exact same in that respect. Application amendments, exceptions, and then expiration of approvals. Down here we'll have code amendments and exemptions. And just so everyone knows it's clear, up top was application amendments. This next one is code amendments, and the purpose of this is should the code be amended at any given time, this will have provisions on how that affects current applications. So we'll have the purpose and applicability again, those code amendment language in there and exemptions for those. There's going to be an appeals portion here, again, purpose and applicability and the process of that appeals, of those appeals. And that's where we end off with what we have so far.
Any questions, members of the commission?
What's your timeline? What's your hope for?
So we have worked out quite a bit more than what we showed today, but we're not there yet. I don't feel comfortable presenting it yet. So I don't want to pigeonhole us and say that we'll have a date, but it will be soon. So with the Gantt chart that I gave to the Board of Commissioners in June had a hopeful end date of November. But we will be able to bring you something before then. So September, hopeful, October, conservative, to bring back with this, but with substantial language you all can take home and look at and provide any comments that you want.
Would that be for all sections, or are you going to come back to us with a few, and while others are in the works, or what? Are you come back everything at once?
Everything at once.
And are you planning to incorporate into it the revisions that we made about a year and a half ago?
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
we have that, and we have some of the newer ordinances
Right.
that were passed. So those new laws, the resolutions that were provided and stuff, those are being incorporated
Yeah.
along with the code language on the website.
Okay. And is the department doing this all internally, or are you?
With the help of Wallace Montgomery.
Okay.
So Nick, well, I would like to say, Nick and his colleague Aisha have been instrumental in helping. I could not do this by myself. And so the three of us have been working collaboratively together. We've really increased some time working and, putting the three of our heads together to make sure this is going to come together in a cohesive way, package for you, so that hopefully, but the end goal is to present it to the Board of Commissioners in a collaboration type style that we've worked, city officials and the Planning Commission have worked together to present this.
So you would want it to come back to us for us to basically sign off on it before you present it to them, or?
Essentially, correct, yeah. With any comments you may have, if there's anything that you feel might need to change or any sections you might want us to add in.
Okay. The one, I mean, this was fairly quick, and even though I looked at it before, I really didn't think of this till I saw it. The only thing I'm thinking is that you've got a lot of sections, and you've got a lot of, like, for instance, the amendments. You've got them all put into one section, but it's possible that amendments, and I can't think of an example, it just seems like that the type of amendment that would come with a lot consolidation or a petitioning would be very different from the type of amendment that might come along with a site plan review. So I don't know whether by putting them in chapters by process, if that's going to muddy the water because you have to have different processes based on the type of review that it is. I don't know.
So the level that, and let me go to that amendment section here. We wanted this to be
Well,
broad.
the next one before that.
This is code amendments.
That's
Oh,
code
excuse me,
amendments.
this
I'm
is
talking about this one.
applications.
Yes.
Yes, these 4 bullet points, it's a very broad outline. So underneath them, similarly on other slides, and if I could take you through where there is kind of similar to this one here, where you can see
Yeah.
underneath here, there's more bullet points.
Okay.
There will be, in that exemption, you just go to the exemption section, and then you can go to the point of which process you
Okay,
have
fine.
under
Okay,
that,
good,
and it'll have
good.
the proceedings.
Okay, good.
Excellent. Anybody else? Thank you very much.
Okay, that concludes the report and the,
See you soon.
Yeah. Got your work cut out for you.
All right.
A lot of work to do.
At this point, I think,
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, I have a question that's doesn't pertain to anything on the agenda, but it's a general information question. It sort of pertains to these issues we're talking about, and that is what is the policy of the city, not with regard to any particular application or project or whatever, but does the city require bonds by builders or developers to proceed with certain projects, or is there a code section you can point me to, or a process?
well, the only bonds that we've required in my time here that I know of are for demolitions. Now, there are some in language here for surety bonds. I believe that will live in the major subdivision. I don't want to get ahead of myself too. We may have that in other provisions with
right.
this, but as of right now, demolition.
Okay, all right, thank you.
well, that's interesting, because if they're building public use, streets, sidewalks, things of that sort, at least in my day job back in Virginia, my clients have to post substantial performance bonds that work will be done, and if it's not, the county can call the bond and do the work itself.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know it's done in many places.
Okay, good question.
Got Vince's attention.
The county?
Vince Robertson. First of all, I commend staff, because I just haven't dealt with codes. This is a heavy lift, heavy lift. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, it just seems like, from dealing with the city's code, and I deal with it, but the public kind of just in and out if they have their own particular issue. It's not intuitive where you would find things necessarily within the code. And you can kind of see from Corey's presentation, just where the sections are, how much variance there is, on the same topic, just jumping around. So I think that's helpful. Just with regard to, I can speak from just experience on one subdivision I did years ago. There was, to the point of what we're talking about, the city required a public works agreement, but because there was some infrastructure, there was a small subdivision at the end of, was it Schoolview, right by Rehoboth Elementary, when Melissa Thorogood did that for her family. But we were kind of all flying by the seat of our pants because, it wasn't really codified. And there wasn't a lot of extension of utilities that required bonding, but there's also no provisions for bonding anywhere in the code. And I would just say, from my point of view of the county, we did the same thing that you all are talking about with fees, because you have to do a code change, if you change fees, and that's a hassle. And some of you I know probably dealt with this. We pulled it all out and just made it part of the annual budget. That way, each year the mayor and commissioners could just set that as part of the budget, and you're not having to change the code every time. But anyway, congratulations to these folks, because I think it'll be a good product at the end, but it's going to be a lot of work to get there, But I think it'll be helpful to everybody, and that's always a problem with codes, is they evolve over time. Things just get stuck here and there, and it just makes it less intuitive. So anyhow, just for what that's worth, thanks.
I also think that E-code platform sucks. Because you gotta, and I don't, it's not the cities, right? It's some vendor. But it's like, because you gotta noodle into where you want, and then if it refers to something else, and some of this will clean that up. But it closes where you are to go to the other thing, and toggling back and forth between, that's a pain.
We'll get IT to help you.
I know how to use it.
It's a reflection of how the code is structured.
I don't know why we could.
I think the cleanup, garbage in, garbage out.
Plain and simple.
Now, when we were revising the code a couple of years ago at this point, we talked about trying to restructure it so that it made logical sense. Instead of starting here, and then you go to the final plan, and then you're at the preliminary plan, and then you go back somewhere else. And we just decided that it would, is a choice between two bad options, I guess, but that the least bad option, or the less bad option, was to not change the order so that people who were accustomed to dealing with it could see, more, perhaps more easily where the changes were. But at this point, it really is a scramble. And so I encourage you to, and I'm happy to put it on your heads, to try and make this thing work like a statute works when it's describing a process with standards for each, and the processes more or less in chronological order and so forth. So I commend you for taking that on.
I have a question.
Yes, Mike.
Just a general question and forgive me because I haven't been keeping up with this, is where does the workforce housing initiative fit in with this? Has that been reduced, or is part and parcel? or-
This is more of a
That would
procedural.
Yeah, this is more for procedural clarity. I believe that would most likely live in Article 2 and Article 3 of 270, which are use regulations in our zoning codes that would help
I
them
was
with
just
that.
thinking more in terms of the effort that's currently going on with the committee that was and is meeting on it, if that's still going to happen, or?
Temporarily.
Are you talking about the mixed use
Yeah, task.
Yes.
task force?
Yeah, is there?
To my knowledge now, that was put on hold
Okay,
until.
that was my question. Okay. So this is going to take precedent over that, and theoretically, it would incorporate what that committee may have concluded.
If I may, so the mixed-use workforce
Task force.
task force will be resuming its meetings and conversations and development of the code and everything as the rewrite progresses, so that the recommendations from that group can be provided into the rewrite and consolidated into the update of the relevant code section as that timeline occurs, if that made sense.
That's, okay, what was
So
happening?
parallel paths converging at the right point to get everything in front of you and the process to approve it without redundancy or delay, if that, in theory.
All right. Anything else? Okay, I need to call, this is the opportunity for citizen comment. I think Mr. Robertson was our citizen. Appreciate you taking on that role, sir. I hope you didn't bill your client for that. But anybody else? I don't see anyone, so I'll close the public citizen comment section. And we are adjourned.
I thought there was another.
Well, that's not part of them. Okay.
Oh, well, it should be part of the record.
All right. We need to express our gratitude to Susan Stewart for her, I call it elevation, but at least it's a transfer from here to there.
Transfer, please, not
Yeah.
It's a lateral pass.
And so if anyone has any comments, other than see you later.
My comment is here, here.
Great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You're embarrassing me.
Well, and I want to thank you for the 3 years of hard work you've put into the planning commission, because I know it's not always easy and it's time consuming, and it's been great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to add my seconding to both of those points, which is thank you for all the work you've done. You've done a lot of work. And I know that, and I know that you've given a lot of thought to some difficult questions. And so I personally am delighted that the City Commission will have the benefit of your intelligence and your skills. I would also say that I was thinking about this. You know, the other Susan is someone who was on the Planning Commission and then went on the City Commission and then came back to the Planning Commission. And I can't help but wonder if there's not a kind of where are the cool kids sort of thing going on. And so with no disrespect at all intended to our City Commission, so what it reminded me of, and maybe you can just hum this as you go through your less joyful sessions, if there are any, on the City Commission. There's a song, I don't know if you're familiar with the musical Hamilton, but there's a song sung by the King character called You'll Be Back. And it's sort of like, you'll be back, time will tell, you'll remember that we served you well. And I won't go on with the rest of the lyrics, which are not nearly as appropriate as those are. So speaking only for myself, I wish you all the best, and I would be delighted if you do come back.
Thank you.
I must thank you for your direct method of commenting on things, as you outlined here previously about how the code works in the computer. I've never had a doubt about where you stood on anything. And as chair, it's been wonderful to watch.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now we can adjourn. We can answer.
We're adjourned again.